Alright guys, let's talk about midnight on the channel for the first time since this candle right here, guys, on the 23rd of March. So yeah, it's only been about 5 days, and yes, we did see it needed to break this trend line, and it did not do so on that night, unfortunately. And since then, it kind of teeter-tottered this line. If we put this on a 4-hour time frame, you'll see this a little bit better. And basically on the 4th of March, it started to make this trend. And we got a rejection here on the 11th. We also got on the 17th, basically on 23rd. Broke out on the 24th, it looks like, only to fall back through. Now, it did break out once again on the 26th, only to fall back through. Now, it looks like it's leaving this trend line. So I do believe it's not going to fall back under this trend line. It actually has sealed a 4-hour candle above the 5-cent mark, which is basically resistance on a weekly time frame. Now keep in mind, you need to sail a weekly time frame candle over this little mark here, so, or this, line, we can say. So right now it's, only one 4-hour candle, but the longer the candle, of course, the better. So let's see what happens here in the coming days. Now jumping over to the volume here, you can see it's just below the point of control at about 5.4 cents. That's this red line. So we are right here, guys. If I zoom in here a little bit, let's see. We are just trying to get through this biggest candlestick right now, trying to work on the second largest candlestick at the moment. But once we get above, let's say about 6.6 cents, the volume really drops off pretty heavily here. Now, since midnight is fairly new, guys, there really isn't much history here for the Bollinger Bands. And so let's look at this on a daily time frame and a 4-hour. Not really pinching just yet, we can say. Let me get rid of this real quick. But yeah, you can see it's not pinching. Actually had more narrowness back here in the beginning of March. That, resulted in downward action, though. But, I wouldn't say it really contributed too much to that. Now, a pinch or a real squeeze is what we really want. It's getting narrow. It's one of the more narrow points it's ever been at the moment if we look at the full history. But still, I would say it's not really playing a role here just yet. Now, 4-hour time frame, let's take a look. Do have kind of a pinch back here on the 23rd that resulted in this. And slight pinch right here. Maybe several 4-hour candles ago. But again, not really much going on, I would say, as for the Bollinger Bands. Now, as for the stochastic and the RSI here, getting a little bit overheated here with stochastic. RSI right in the middle, moving up though. So kind of a mixed signal there. The 4-hour time frame though, overheated pretty much on both. This actually is maybe slightly above the overheated mark here. Stochastic here is also overheated. Now, 1-hour time frame, overheated on both, unfortunately, probably about to turn around soon. And the 15-minute time frame, overheated here on RSI, and stochastic is getting pretty close to that. So I do expect probably in the next couple of candles to be overheated. Now, putting this on a 4-hour time frame, let's get rid of these and take a look. Now, I wouldn't expect to really break this next resistance here at about 5.27 cents. Basically, it's probably going to consolidate between about 5 cents to 5.3 cents here, I would say, if we're just rounding this line up here. But yeah, for now, it needs to reset some of these stochastic and RSIs, and then it will probably make its next run. Now, looking at this on a daily time frame once again, I would say if it can break about the 6.3 cent mark, it's probably going to take off here. Now, as for the MACD here, we were actually in a red period on the 23rd. You can see it was fading, but we do have a couple of dark green candles. We also have the blue line crossing the red line here to the upside. So yes, momentum is up here on the MACD for night. Now, midnight is number 75 project, up about 12% on the day. The max supply is 24 billion. That's not something I truly like about it, because it's kind of a lot, but 16.6 billion is circulating. I do think a lot of people are interested in night, and probably a reason why is Cardano is, Charles Hoskinson here. He's praising midnight, the project itself. So I think they do have a following, somewhat like TRX or XRP as well, ADA as I mentioned. So yeah, I think that's going to, fare well for night. All-time high is nearly 12 cents. You're down about 58% if you bought it back then, guys, 4 months ago. But the all-time low was also 4 months ago, and if you bought it back then, you're up about 112% at the moment. Now, jumping over to Bitcoin here, you can see it broke down from this rising wedge. And guys, I did mention this maybe about 4 or 5 days ago as well. 75% of these rising channels, we can say, break down. So this ended up breaking down. Finally, we do have a green candle today. Now, do remember, we closed $66,225 on CME. If we go back to this chart, guys, 66,422 right now. So the gap is to the downside, unfortunately, but it's a relatively small gap. So it's not really anything to worry about at this moment. Now, jumping over to Ethereum, looking a little better than Bitcoin. It hasn't actually broken down to this rising wedge. But again, 75% of these rising wedges break down eventually. So let's see, it's faring a little bit better than Bitcoin at the moment. If we go to the quarterly returns, you can see it did come back a little bit on Bitcoin, but it's still about 8.5% underperforming when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum being compared here. Now, Bitcoin, minus 1%. We only have 3 more days, guys, before this month close. So yeah, we're 6 months into this with red monthly, candles. So let's see. The longest streak we ever had was 6 months as well, from August 2018 to January 2019. Let's see if we can tie that. I don't want to, but let's see if we do. Actually, I should say it's very possible, but I do think if we tie that, we're probably going to have a very nice April. So you can see February, when it actually broke that, 11% up in 2019. So probably something similar will happen if we have 6 months of red here. Now, before I go a little farther in this video, guys, you can claim some bonuses on my favorite crypto exchanges below. Also, we have Moodix here. You can get a free 2-day trial. If you're looking for a cold wallet, you can get 17% off your order here. Also, you can follow me on X here, guys. We do have a Bybit card. If you use my link, you will get $10 back once you spend 100 euros. And I will get $20, but you can also refer your friends. So keep that in mind. And guys, we do have an eShop, but we only have t-shirts right now. This is what the t-shirt looks like. If you want something different printed on the sleeves, we can do that. If you want Ethereum, Solana, or whatever, we can do that. But the front and the back will remain the same. Now, as for the Bitcoin ETF flow yesterday, it was quite negative, $225 million negative. So let's take a look at Ethereum here. Ethereum also was negative, almost $50 million. Now, if we look at Solana, let's see what happened to Solana. And basically, it was also negative, almost $8 million. Now, as of yesterday, the total market cap did break down below this trend line. I do view that as a very negative thing, guys. I don't think it's going to be very easy for it to get back above 2.3 trillion here. Let's see. But yeah, once it breaks down like this, I expect another leg down here. Now, looking at the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, it wasn't so negative like the entire market cap. Now, it is trying to get back above. Still, I think it's going to be very difficult for it. And let's see if it can do it. 988, though, was the magic number for a while. And yeah, it got a big rejection here, basically. Now, the total market cap, excluding the top 10, it's starting to get back above this trend line. That's a little bit interesting, but this hasn't really done much, guys. It could also reject here. Let's see if it does. Maybe it's a retest of this trend line, and it could well be a big rejection. Now, as for the Bitcoin dominance, it's still going down, which is kind of interesting. It's trying to complete this shoulder, but this shoulder is long and drawn out, guys. Let's see if it does it. But, in my opinion, I still think it's going to do something like this. But altcoin holders want this, of course. Now, if we go to the stablecoin dominance, last night it actually broke this flag here. And it pretty much retested this 13.78%. Getting a small bounce right now, but still red. It is a weekend though, guys. And once it breaks about 14% here, the target is going to be up here at about 15.15%. Now, as for the altcoin season index, 47 today. I believe it was at yesterday, maybe 49. But point is, it's still trending towards Bitcoin season, unfortunately. Now, if we go to liquidation heat map, less than 200 million have been wrecked in the last 24 hours, so that's good. Binance liquidation heat map here. I do expect probably a move down to about 65,000 before we would go back up to about 69,500 to take out this liquidity. But again, it's probably not going to do much on the weekend. So let's see where this kind of builds up over the weekend. Now, if we look at the fear and greed, it's 12 today. Yesterday it was 13. Next update in about 11 hours. And if we look at the bull market peak indicators, the sell top indicators, basically these 30, nothing has happened, and the pi cycle top indicator has gone down even more. Now, as I mentioned last night on the video, we do have a couple of speakers on Monday. We do have on Tuesday HPI numbers, Chicago PMI, consumer confidence, JOLTS job openings, and a couple of speakers. So that's pretty, wild day probably for Bitcoin. Wednesday also kind of wild. We do have ISM numbers. We got a couple of speakers. We have BAR and or one speaker, sorry, and retail sales. And if we go to Thursday, just jobless claims really. Not really much other than that. And Friday is a holiday basically, but we do have average hourly earnings, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, private non-farm payrolls, S&P PMI here. So we do have quite a bit going on basically Friday and Tuesday, Wednesday. So I think those are going to be the most volatile days. Now, looking at yesterday on Moodix here, it did end up being a negative day yesterday, 0.17 negative. Now, if we go down, Iran ended up being negative here, 0.25 negative. So, yeah, macro was positive yesterday, and yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Now, if we go to this, the FedWatch tools, basically 4% chance we get a raise. So, basically, 96% chance nothing happens in about 32 days here. I basically think nothing is going to happen this year, but let's see, guys. There's a lot of things going on right now, really hard, and it's not really that important right now if we get a raise or not, I think. Of course, if we get a raise, it's not good for Bitcoin, but we have more, problems on the table like the war right now. Now, as for the CPI inflation index here, we have 1.76% inflation according to this. Crypto bubbles, guys, don't buy Siren. Whatever you do, this went from about $2.17 to like 70 cents or something like this the other night when I made the video. Now it's back up, guys. It's about $1.71, but still below where I warned you, about this project. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my YouTube short from about 5 days ago. Anyways, Knight, not a bad project in my opinion. It's the best performer here. And Chili's, FET, yeah, also good. Hype, yeah, another one I think is good. CC as well. So, and guys, I don't think they have Knight here. If you do search for Knight, basically you get this project. So I don't think this is the one we want. So yeah, there's no information here. Anyways, if you want to stake your Bitcoin, you can go here, or there's a lot of other cryptos here that you can check out. And guys, if you like this video, like, subscribe, activate the bell, share this video with your friends. Like I said, check those links down below, guys. I have a lot of links for exchanges. We also have, t-shirts. We have Bybit cards. You can become a member of the channel. So guys, I truly appreciate all your support, and I will see you in the next video.